Today, we're going to learn how to draw in Scratch, particularly how to do rockets, how to draw rockets, because they're going to be a major part of our program that we create. And then also what we're basically going to be doing is just playing around with a few things and learning just from exploring. So hopefully from today you should have picked up a few skills and just be a little bit more comfortable with Scratch.
Woohoo! That sounds fun!
Sure does. Let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to create a sprite. So this is where we're starting in Scratch. This is our beginning screen. A sprite is this character here. Okay, now our sprite is like a performer, and our game or our animation or whatever we're creating, this is like a performer within that thing, like a character within that thing. Someone or something that does something or is interacted with, or something that we just create and it just sits there. So we have this one that it starts off with, and this is Scratch. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to hide him for a moment because we're not going to use Scratch. So the one we use is this one here. You see an eyeball means to see him. This one with a line through it, that means we're going to hide him for a moment. We will use him a little bit later to show us some other details of our game. So let's click on that. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a character in our program, and that's going to be a spaceship. And that spaceship's going to fly around space and go and visit all the constellations. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use this thing over here. And it says choose a sprite. Now, this is the thing that creates the characters. This is not a thing that creates characters. This one here, it says choose a backdrop. And what this will do is this will create a background, but we can't really do all that much with a background. We can do some things, but if you create it in here, you're not going to be able to create it as a character within your program. So we have to make sure we use this button here. Now, if you click on this button, it'll come up with a whole lot of options. But today, we're learning how to draw our own spaceship. So we're going to use this tool here, which says Paint, and we're going to paint a spaceship. So click on Paint, and it will start a new sprite. Let's use some good practices. Let's create a name for our sprite. So we know this is called a spaceship, so let's call it Spaceship. It's a good idea to call things names that you'll know what they are, because later we may have many characters in our program. So this allows us to know exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so let's move over here. These are the tools of drawing costumes or characters. Okay, now I'm going to start with this thing here. Down the bottom here, we see this thing that says Convert to Bitmap. Now, if we were to click on that, you'll notice the icons change. Okay, and these things, they actually look quite pixely. You know what pixely means? You see these little squares in this section here, they are white and gray. That is like 1 pixel. And if you compare it with this line over here, you'll see that this line has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pixels. So in this kind of drawing, in bitmap drawing, it actually uses little squares to draw your pictures. So if we were to take a circle, I'm going to draw a circle here, and we're not drawing a big one, but this little circle here, and we were to change its size. So we go here to size. Let's say we want to make this bigger. We were to go 300. Have a look at that. You'll see that all of a sudden, the lines are not so smooth. In fact, you can see little squares that make up this circle. If I was to make it even bigger, let's go 500. You'll see even more squares, and it's quite jagged and rugged and not very tidy. But there are some games that use this style, and it can be quite, well, it can look cool in some situations. But for us today, we're not going to use that style. We want our lines to be nice and smooth. So I'm going to change this size back for now to 100. And I'm going to delete this. So to delete it, I just click on it. Okay, see it's got the square around it to show that it's selected. And on my keyboard, I'm going to push the delete button. Or you might have backspace. Backspace works or delete works as well. And we're going to go back to vector. Okay, because what happens is we'll use the circle tool that's right here, and we'll draw a circle, or you'll see that it's got a black outline, which we'll look at later. And if we have a look at this circle, and we change its size up to 300, you'll see that our lines are still nice and smooth. And if we were to change it up to 500, you'll see that it's very smooth. Now your circle might not be the same color as mine. That's not a problem. It's because I've used Scratch many times before, and this was the color that I last had set up on it. So how can we change the color of our circle? Well, we can do it in a couple of ways, really. At the moment, you'll see that my circle is selected. Okay, it has that square around it. If I want to change the color, I can do it while it is selected by going over to Fill and clicking on a color. Okay, and you'll see that that changes my color here. Well, it changes it here, it hasn't changed there. But if I click off it, then it does change it there. It updates that. Now, if I was to go and change the color again, nothing would happen because you'll see my circle was not selected. So if I want to change my color, I must select it. I can click on this tool. You see it says select. Click on that tool, click on my circle, and click on my color, and then I can change my color again. There's so many colors you can pick from. Now these are general colors. Okay, if you play with the saturation, it kind of takes the color out of it a little bit, so it kind of softens the color. That softens it down to white, and that makes it quite, strong. And then of course we've got our brightness here. If you want it to be quite dark, you take that one down. If you want it to be really light, you take that up. So I generally like to have the saturation quite high and the brightness quite high, and then we have all of our bright, vivid colors. And so there's some really cool colors that you can choose from. And see here, you'll see that I have this. Now I said there's another way to change the color. And this way, if you don't have an object that is selected, so this is not selected at the moment, you'll see it doesn't have a line around it. If I click on my paint bucket and I go to here and I pick a new color, then I can go and click on that one there and it will change the color just like that. So that's another way to change the color. Now, if we want to move this thing around, we select it, we can move it around and drag it and things like that. We can make it bigger. One more thing, my size is 500. It's massive, look at that. So I'm going to take it back down to 100, which means 100% of my size. So this size here is the same as this one. All right, so if you have a look at my color here, my shapes color, it has got an outline on it. So if we have a look up here at this outline tool, we can see my shape is selected at the moment. If we were to click on that, we can change the color of the outline. So if I turn my brightness up, I can go and do it blue, for example. Let's see that, we've got blue. Cool thing is though, if I don't want an outline of my shape, all I need to do is click on one button, this one right here with the line through it. That means I don't want anything in there. So if I click on that, click off it, you'll see that, there it goes, it disappears. But let's say we have a fill. Let's give it an outline. Oh, I didn't select it. See, it needs to be selected. Let's do that again. Give it an outline. And let's say this is quite thin. I want to make that a bit thicker. We can use these numbers over here to make our lines much thicker. You'll see we can go all the way up to like that. We can keep going if we wanted to. And let's say in this middle, it's green. I don't want to do green. I want to have that so it's see-through. All right, we can do the same thing that we did to our outline. We can click on this tool here and click on that one, and we have a clear outline, just like that. So now we have a shape that is actually see-through. How can we tell it's see-through? Well, if I draw another shape, and I'll give it a color, let's get rid of the outline. All right, I'm just going to make sure that this one's backwards because otherwise it'll be in front. Whoopsie, see, I'm trying to select it, but I can't. Delete that, click on that one. So now if I go over there, you'll see, oh, look at that. It's nice and see-through. So that's just a simple thing. But you'll see one thing that I used there, apart from the circle, which I have been using, is I use this thing, which is the square. So we have the square shape. I'm just going to show my lines down, 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 down. There we go. Down to 3, that'll do. Okay, so we got the shape. I'll give it a nice bright color, right? Yeah, let's look at something like that. So we got the shape here. If we were to click on this and click on there, we can actually edit our shapes like this. We can move it bigger that way. We can drag it around. Many things that we can do with our shape. We can actually even rotate it. So if we wanted to rotate it, we just click on that. If I want to undo something, let's say I've made a mistake. I don't want to have it so that it is like this. We can do two things. We've got this button up here. And what this means is it means undo what I've just done. So if I do that, it'll reset it. Or on your keyboard, you can use Control-Z, which does exactly the same thing. So let's say if I drew this and I go, oh, it's big, and I rotate it a little bit, and then, oh, I don't like that. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click that again, and it'll set everything back as normal. So we've got this shape, which is a square. This is going to be a great shape for our rocket. So what I'll do is I'll delete that. So I can delete that two ways again. So I can click on select, make sure it's selected, and I can push the delete button on my keyboard or backspace. Or if I go back, I can use the delete button up here. So we can click on that and that will delete it. Now I've got one more tool that I want to show you, and that's this one here. And this one allows us to draw lines like that. You click, hold, and drag, you can draw a line. Now, how do we change the color of that? It's only outline. So we need to click on it, and we click on outline, and we go and change our color there. So we can change it to a color like this if we wanted to. Yeah, so that's one way to color the lines. But what if I want to draw a shape that's not a shape on my list? So we've got squares, we've got circles, and I don't want to draw those. I want to draw a triangle, but we don't have any triangles here. Well, that's what we use this line for. So if I draw and I draw again and I draw again, you'll see that we make a triangle. Now let's see that again. Something was happening there. When I was drawing, something was popping up. I click there. You'll see if I hover over that corner, a blue circle comes up. And I draw again, hover over that corner, there's a blue circle. And another blue circle. So why is that blue circle very important to us? Well, what happens is when we draw a shape, in order to be able to color it properly, you can color it, there's still a way, but sometimes it won't work properly. So if we drew a shape and we went on the circle here and we went on the circle here, but this one here, let's say we didn't go to the circle and we went up here, and you can see there's a gap here. Now if we click on our paint tool here and we go to our film and we pick a color and we want to color this in, we can't do it. Why can't we do it? Well, our shape is not a proper shape because it is not closed, but we can color the lines. Look at that. We can change the color of our lines, but we can't fill the shape. Now, there is a way to fix this, and there is actually a way to color it as well. So I'm just going to click this back one here. Now, if we were to select this shape and color it, it would work, okay? But we've still got a gap here. So let's say I wanted to fix it. If I made a mistake like this and I want to fix it, we have this tool here. And what this does is if we click on that shape, it selects all the circle points. These are called vertexes of our shape. So we can actually select a single vertex if we want to, and we can move this around. And we can actually use this to fix our shape as well. So if we clicked it there and we dragged it to there, boom, we would have a fixed shape, although not properly. You have to get it really good. So my recommendation is when you draw your shape, you need to make sure that you always go to a blue circle. Blue circle, blue circle. Then we have a complete shape. And it's so easy to color, just like that. Now, let's say we don't want a triangle. Let's say we want to make a crown. We can make a crown just as long as we make sure we go to the blue dots. And let's say I don't like the shape of this crown. I want to edit it. So again, we can click on this tool. We can go to the points and we can make it so that it's a lot neater. Oh, my mouse is moving around. It doesn't want me to click on that. So let's say I want to tidy that one up a bit more. I want to move that one to the middle. And it gives us some real fine tuning changes that we can make. And let's say I want to make it yellow, like a crown. Booyah, there we go. Oh, and actually, I don't want a outline for that. I want to get rid of the outline. I click on that, and then I click on that line there, and that outline has disappeared. So with that, we have all the tools that we need to make a rocket, and that's what I want you to do. Right? I'm going to make a rocket, but it's going to be quite quick, and I'm not going to explain things because you can make the rocket. So my rocket's going to be basic. Your rocket's going to be cool. All right. So for me, if I was to draw a rocket, I just go basic square, and look at that. I want to make sure it is in the middle. All right, so we click on this here, and this thing here stands for the middle. So we're going to make sure that's nicely in the middle. Then I'm going to draw a triangle at the top. Let's go top, 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 and that's my triangle. I'll give it some color. So I'm going to select my triangle and give it some color. And then I'm going to draw very simply this here, this here, this here. Okay, and color that with this. And then look, I want to keep the shape. Actually, this is a cool trick. I will show you this. We want to make sure it is the same on both sides, the shape here. So what I can do is I can go copy, and I can go paste. And now I have two of them, but it's the wrong way. So we use this thing called flip horizontal. Flip vertical would go the other way, but we don't want that. We want to flip it horizontal. Okay, and we're going to drag that shape there. And we have two shapes that are the same, although not lined up very well. Okay, and then what else should I do? I'll give it a window. So let's use a circle. Let's give it a window. Let's go like this. And we have got a window there. So what color would that window be? Probably blue or light gray or something like that. But that'll do. Also, I want to do some writing. So you see here, there's a T button. I'll just go here and let's go NASA. I can write something and put it there, NASA. I can change that color again, make it black. And I can actually change my font. So if I click on that here, this font here, okay, and then I click on the T button, you'll see this thing here. And what that does is that gives me a whole lot of fonts. I like that one, Pixel. So here we go, a very extremely simple spaceship. I'm sure you can make one that's a lot better than mine. So get making, make a spaceship.